Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first video of talking about some draft prospects. And similar to the free agents video, this is by no means a comprehensive top five list. These are just five guys that I wanted to talk about and give my thoughts on. And especially from at the college level, I'm not one who spends hours upon hours each Saturday watching and really going in depth with everything college football. I'm more of a casual fan for that side of things. So this is normally a comprehensive list, just some thoughts I have from watching these guys throughout the season in very sporadic different moments, and also the past few weeks, kind of like going through their highlights and everything, just get a better informed opinion on it. So subscribe if you enjoy, leave a like, the whole drill. Comment down below where you think each of these guys should go, and let's dive right into it with Cam Ward being the first one we're going to talk about. And the thing with me for Cam Ward, and why personally I think he is one of the better quarterbacks in this draft and probably should be the first one off the board, is how he plays under pressure and in the pocket. We saw this past NFL season with both Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, and the fact that they've had fantastic seasons. That having the poise and composure in the pocket is very important for a rookie to have if they want to have early success. And obviously, as your NFL career continues, you want to keep on improving how you handle the pressure in the pocket. And Cam Ward's already had a very good spot with it. We saw it a lot during the college season, and we saw it a lot that he has some great poise and some great composure in the pocket, and is able to make plays from the pocket. And for me personally, I do lead towards the side of an improviser instead of a scrambler, but that's just a personal thing. Honestly, I don't fully care, but I like that he can use his legs to extend plays and to be able to still find a better throw. Obviously, there were some times during the season, but he did improve throughout the season with this. But there were times during the season where he would extend the plays and then just make a really bad decision with the football, while either throwing across his body or trying to force one in. So I would like to see him improve in that aspect and be able to just know when to throw the ball away and make a smarter decision. But that is something that can very easily be worked on in the NFL level, as we've seen multiple times in the past. Again, it's his improviser status, is his mobility that he can use to make a big play, but for the most part, he uses it to just extend plays. And it's the case where Cam Ward, he spent some time in college. He was on his third different college this past season with Miami, but that's not like starting to become a kind of a mute point at this stage. Where like, yeah, guys are going to be on multiple different colleges by the time they enter the draft. But as long as they show improvement at each spot and show that they can play at each spot, I don't think it really matters too much if they're at multiple different schools. I mean, we just saw Bo Nix, who was in college a long, long amount of time, and he had a very good rookie season and is in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So for a team that's looking for a quarterback that they want to build around, I'm not saying Cam Ward is this generational talent. I don't think any quarterback in this class is, but he does have the talent to be a really successful quarterback, and one that a team can definitely win games with. And I feel like Tennessee is a good landing spot, even if they didn't have the first overall pick. The way that Brian Callahan has talked about and has shown wanted to build this team is a style that I feel like Cam Ward can really excel behind. And that is a run heavy attack that really focuses on getting the best out of an offensive line and the best out of a running back. And obviously, he didn't really show too much this past season in Tennessee, but it was his first year as a coach. So we'll see how it continues. It's still the case of Cam Ward going to a team that's not necessarily not necessarily exactly built like Miami, but a team that has its identity surrounding very similar principles is going to work wonders for him. And Tennessee does feel like to be that team. So I do like him going first overall. I like him going to Tennessee. And even if Tennessee had the second or third or whatever pick, I would be calling for them to trade up and try to get Cam Ward just because it feels like a match made in heaven between those two, purely based on what Brian Callahan has said. If only we saw more evidence of him actually building that style last season. But again, it was his first year. He did do it in the draft a little bit last year. We drafted an offensive lineman, so we'll see if it happens again. But yeah, I like Cam Ward. I feel like he's the best quarterback in this class and will probably be the first one off the board. I just wish this was a better QB class overall, but we'll get to it. Next up, we're gonna talk about Shedeur Sanders, and this is weird when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, and it's a case where I'm not saying he doesn't have potential. In my opinion, he is fully built around potential with his status in this class. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can be a purely potential based prospect and end up having a good career because you're able to put in the effort and put in the work. And Sanders is definitely able to do all that. But with how high he's expected to go, him being purely potential, I don't fully love. because to me at least, he showed a lot of inconsistencies in Colorado this past season, and a lot of it stems to the fact that this first season in Colorado, the team wasn't fully the greatest. Like this past season, he seemed skittish in the pocket, and that does stem from the 2023 Buffaloes team not having a good offensive line. But I feel like if he can just get behind an offensive line that he can fully trust, and he can just be able to let a play develop properly, he can make damn near every single throw you would want for him to make. He just needs to stand behind the pocket a bit more and trust his offensive line. And I get not being able to do that in Colorado this past season based on what happened previously. I am kind of skeptical about how well he's going to translate because Travis Hunter made a lot of plays last season. We're going to talk about Travis Hunter in a different video. But a good portion of Shedeur Sanders' production, both from this season and 2023, was from Travis Hunter making an incredible play and good job and doing a great job tracking the ball. I mean, there's a reason Hunter won the Heisman. Now, obviously, it's not. I can't fully put it against him because there's a reason that those two had so much success together. It's just I don't know how much you can really depend on Sanders to make the similar plays that he did, purely because he won't be throwing to Travis Hunter, and with the expectation that he might go at number 2 to Cleveland. He's not fully going to have that same caliber of receiving talent there. I mean, I like Cleveland's receiving room for the most part, but the talent there is just not the same. And on top of it, with Shedeur being this kind of guy that I feel like needs to sit maybe a season or half a season in order to properly develop and properly gain trust in the new system, it's going to be interesting. Because Sanders has not played in a more so professional level yet, outside of Deion Sanders and that system. So now wherever he's going to be going, having to learn that new system, and how is that system going to translate to his skill set, I'm not too sure. I would have preferred him go into a team that doesn't necessarily need him to start right away. And Cleveland technically can be that team, but with the reports of Deshaun Watson's injury taking massive setbacks, it's seeming like that whoever Cleveland's going to be drafted at number 2, assuming it is a quarterback, is going to be asked to start right away. And I don't fully love that for Sanders, despite again how much I feel he has the potential to be a great quarterback and the talent he has shown. If I would much prefer if he was able to sit for at least half a season or maybe a full season. But with how good his mobility is and how good of a scrambler he is, I could see him still being able to have success as a rookie. But he's someone that you would want to see develop during practices and during the early stages of training camp and everything before you truly throw him into the whim. And also just see how it plays during the preseason. But nonetheless, again, I feel like he can be a good quarterback. There's a reason he is the second ranked quarterback in this class for a lot of people. It's just can it translate to the NFL? We shall see. Another quarterback who's in a bit of a weird spot is Jalen Milroe. And it's just because Alabama was in a very weird spot this past season, going from Nick Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, most likely, to Kalen DeBoer. And the entire system changed, the entire way that team was ran changed, and it definitely did not help the public eye on Jalen Milroe. I still think he could be a solid quarterback, but definitely not one you want to take a first round pick on, or maybe one you want to take a late half of for the first round on, because having a 5th-year option is very important. So, I mean, if he goes back half, really more so back 4th of the first round, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I'm more so leading the day 2 pick on him because, again, he has the talent and he showed it in 2023. It's just last year was a very weird spot for Alabama as a whole, and there was just some inconsistency to his game. He can throw the ball well, and he obviously can make some plays, but especially this past season, he did get helped out by Ryan Williams a bit, being just that incredible receiving talent he is. But at the end of the day, I'm not really holding 2024 against Jalen Milroe too much, purely because of the differences between Saban and DeBoer. But it's still the case of has the making to be a complete player in the NFL, just needs to develop, and he's definitely someone I do not want to be starting in week 1. I would rather him start in 2026, give him a full year to learn behind someone, and then go from there. And I feel like there is multiple good teams that is willing to sit him in order to like develop him into the kind of quarterback they might want for the future or as a backup option. But Milroe is going to be a solid quarterback in some capacity. Whether or not he will be a legit starter is a different question and it depends a lot on what system he goes to. And when a quarterback is so heavily dependent on the system, there's definitely some discussions to have surrounding it. I'm not saying that you can't be. I mean, every quarterback in some capacity is a system quarterback, but there are some quarterbacks who the systems or who where the system surrounds them, and others who surround the system. And Milrow is on the side of he surrounds the system. So we'll see how that goes. It all depends on where he gets drafted to and really how much time they allow him to develop. But depending on where that place is, it's going to be a journey for Milrow to be able to see the field in some capacity. So we'll see again. I have a roughly a day two pick for him. Next up, Dylan Gabriel, and he is someone who I really like. I really love how he played. And even though the season started kind of slow, he found his footing pretty quickly and played well throughout the season. I mean, he had Oregon as a number one ranked team come to college football playoff starting. And another case where he's been around the block in college football. He's been on three different schools, played well at each spot, which is the key thing. And it's just, and he translated to the next level, a la his predecessor in Oregon, Bo Nix. And I feel like the situations between Gabriel and Nix are relatively similar. Obviously, some slight differences, but for the most part, they are pretty similar. And it's a case where, like most quarterbacks nowadays, Gabriel can make plays with his legs as kind of that improviser role, and he can play well. Weirdly enough, the main question I have for Dylan Gabriel is the fact he's left-handed. And that's weird for me to say as a Dolphins fan because Tua is there. But it's just a case of left-handed quarterbacks have really not had the same level of success in the NFL in the past 20 some odd years compared to what they had during the 70s, 80s, and 90s with Stabler and Steve Young. Really, like Brunell, like it was Brunell, Vic, and then Tua basically have been the last three like prominent left-handed quarterbacks in the NFL, and all of them are very different when it comes to the success. They all very different when it comes to the success they have, and depending on who you ask, the person could say very different things about how successful they were in the NFL. So it's just the idea behind a left-handed quarterback having success is going to take effort from Gabriel to put in the extra work because just from pure nature of how the NFL media is, they're going to view him and talk about him differently just because through the eye test it looks off if you're not used to seeing a left-handed quarterback play. And that's nothing against anyone. That's just how the mind works, and it's weird like that. But it's why you see videos of like Tua throwing right-handed, and all of a sudden you're like, "Damn, he actually throws the ball pretty damn well. Why doesn't it look like this normally?" It's just because you're not used to it. So I think he can be a high-level starter in the NFL. It's just what system does he go to, what team does he go to, and where does he get picked by? If he's a second-round pick, I could see him having a very Jalen Hurts-esque journey in the NFL, where whatever team selects him ends up playing him by mid-season, and he just rides away from there and ends up being a high-end starter. We'll see, but it's just a weird spot for Dylan Gabriel because of everything that surrounds him and everything that kind of just he not to say went through, but the multiple teams is always going to be a question for a college guy, even though maybe not for me. But I do really like Dylan Gabriel. I wish he didn't leave UCF because I feel like we could have. I feel like him and UCF could have definitely gone places together. But that's the nature of college football at this point. But yeah, I do have Dylan Gabriel. Also similar, like day two, maybe third round pick, but one that can more so become a starter compared to Jalen Milrow. The final guy we're going to talk about, a little bit of a weird one, but I want to talk about him just purely because I want to talk about at least one guaranteed high-end backup in the NFL coming up, and that's Kyle McCord. And we'll talk about a project quarterback. If he's going to be a starter, it's going to be a long journey for McCord to be a proper starter in the NFL. And that's not the point of him of a team selecting him in most likely day three. You're not going to select him because you want him to be a starter at some point. If he ends up being a great starter for you, that's a bonus. But he can legit be a solid backup option. And for a lot of NFL teams, having a really solid backup option is very important. I mean, just look at Miami this past season. And it's a case where he can if he can give you consistently 2 or 3 games a season where he just plays really damn well and wins you those games, you are taking that to the bank. And I feel like he can be the quarterback to give you that. In Ohio State, he obviously didn't play up to standards, especially with how Ohio State just finished this past season. But in Syracuse, he played well and had Syracuse having one of their better seasons having one of their better seasons as a school over the past decade or so. And with him playing that well, it's definitely has drawn eyes. And the key thing with how well he was playing in Syracuse that really emphasizes this is the fact that he was a big reason why Syracuse was able to knock out Miami from the ACC championship game. And it's the case where, again, as a starter, he may give you 2 or 3 solid full seasons, but you drafted him to be a very solid backup. And he 100% can. And it's going to be a weird case when he does end up becoming a really solid backup, if he does. Because it'll be the case where he comes in, gives you a very solid game or two, or gives you some very solid throws late in the garbage time game, and then the fan base will start calling for him to be the starter. Then he will start, and within a week or so, he will start to kind of resort back to the mean for him. And then the fan base will realize, oh, wait, there's a reason why he's not the starter in the first place. It's weird, it's funny. But yeah, I do think Kyle McCord as a day 3 pick for a very solid backup role is a case that a lot of teams are going to be happy with if it comes to fruition. But yeah, we'll see. Those are 5 quarterbacks for this upcoming NFL draft that I wanted to just give my thoughts on. It's another rant video. A lot of these free agents and draft videos are going to be more so just rants and me kind of just going off the top of my head with all of them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.